going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, everyone. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, we did a few segments on the possibility of Kai Green and Big Ramy squaring off at the Olympia in a few months. So you should definitely check out that if you haven't already. But I want to put those two aside for now and concentrate on Phil Heath for a minute, because the photo he posted of himself last week is worth talking about. Right now, walking around with dieted delts and carrying enough muscle that he could decide to throw his name into the Olympia mix at any point between now and October without missing a beat. Now, just to be clear, I don't know if Phil is planning to compete or not, and I'm not trying to start up rumors saying that he is. All I'm saying is that the former champ looks like he could be ready for action at a moment's notice. And if that moment happens to come sometime in late October, then it looks like we'll have ourselves a good old-fashioned showdown on our hands. With the Tampa Pro coming up in a little less than a week now, there are a lot of eyes on a lot of athletes looking to make a statement at one of the biggest events of the season. So if you're in the market for a potential dark horse contender to make some waves in the figure division, you might want to take a hard look at Capucine Laconte. A few days ago, we got our hands on these exclusive behind-the-scenes update photos from her coach and friend of the show, King Kamali, who tells us that she's never been more dialed in for a show at any point in her career, and that they believe she has a legitimate shot at earning her Olympia qualification. And when you think about how much talent we're projected to see on that stage next weekend, if she ends up bringing home the win, not only will it secure her the qualification, it'll give her a lot of momentum heading into the next half of the season, which could be a huge factor when it comes to figuring out who ends up sliding into the top 10 at the Olympia a few months from now. After the Chicago Pro wrapped up a few weeks ago, one of the biggest storylines coming out of the men's division was Brett Wilkin and how impressive he was in his open debut with his huge third-place finish. Heading into the show, Brett and his team said the plan was to hit Chicago, regroup, and then hit Tampa this weekend, with the goal being to earn an Olympia qualification at one of those two places. But at least for the moment, it looks like those plans have changed. Earlier this week, Brett announced that he was planning to shut it down for the rest of the season to give himself more time to go back to the lab and do what he needs to do so he can come back in 2022 ready to pick back up where he left off. If you're a fan of Brett's, it might be a little disappointing to know that he won't be seen competing in the Tampa this weekend. But given what he was able to do in his last off-season, the thought of him being able to repeat that again and come back even better next year has to be exciting. And at the very least, it'll be fun to watch him transform into whatever the next version of Brett 3.0 ends up being. And since we're already talking about some of the action we might see in Tampa this weekend, I want to take a second to highlight the fact that this looks like it'll be the biggest bikini lineup that we've seen in a long time in terms of the number of athletes that are scheduled to compete. But that being said, I still think the smart money might be on Lauralie Chapados to keep her win streak alive. Lauralie looked at her all-time best in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and it's hard not to think that she wouldn't be coming into the weekend with a ton of momentum, considering how dominant she was there. Even with some of the other perennial Olympians we're expecting to see on stage this weekend, I don't think any of them have enough gas in the tank to be able to keep up with her if she's firing on all cylinders. And if she can go back-to-back, I think it sets up a big-time showdown between her and Ashley Kaltwasser when it's time to step back onto that Olympia stage. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.